People were hearing what they thought were voices coming from a pond near Paul Lake, west of Perham, Minnesota, on Sunday night. The sheriff's office was joined by citizens in the search for the source of the voices. Boats were put in the water, and a thermal imaging camera was used. There were no missing person reports, and nothing was found. The DNR figures the sound may have been that of a great horned owl or a red fox. From the KFGO Weather Center, mostly clear tonight, our low near 55 west. The sheriff's office was joined by citizens in the search for the source of the voices. Boats were put in the water, and a thermal imaging camera was used.
There is a body of water from which the cry of distress comes more often per square mile than any other body of water in the world. It is not the Devil's Sea off Japan, the tumultuous waters of Cape Horn, nor the deadly calm of the Sargasso Sea. It is an area where the search and rescue capabilities have no equal. Not the Bermuda Triangle, but another triangle. A triangle formed by the Great Lakes, locked in the heart of industrial North America.
The agonic line, or the line of zero magnetic variation, is the line along which magnetic north and true north are precisely the same direction. Now, how this would be related to a transportation accident, or how it could cause such a tragedy, has never been explained. But the fact remains that a number of such disasters have occurred on or near this line. For example, the disappearance of Northwest Airlines Flight 2501, the disappearance of November 212 Alpha Delta, the implausible last actions of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
The peculiar thing about that accident is that for 3 hours at least, the Edmund Fitzgerald was slowly filling up with water. We know that now, even though no one on board the Fitzgerald knew it at the time. What's really strange about this accident is that no one did know that. No one put on life jackets. No one called for distress. In fact, up until about 1 minute before the Fitzgerald finally went under the water, the first mate of the Fitzgerald was saying that the ship was all right. They were having no problem.
And what of the Kamloops and the strange events of December 7th, 1927? The Kamloops, too, had plotted a cautious course, entering Lake Superior in tandem with the freighter Quedagh. In the late afternoon, the men on the Quedagh sighted rocks ahead and swerved successfully to starboard to avoid them. The Kamloops was following and could clearly see the Quedagh's action. But the Kamloops sailed on, despite frantic warning blasts from the Quedagh's great steam whistle. She was not seen again. It was presumed she was dashed on the rocks of Isle Royale, but there was no wreckage, no bodies, no evidence whatsoever that the Kamloops had ever existed. United Airlines Flight 389. A Boeing 727 similar to this one. A flight from New York to Chicago, August 16, 1965. The facts are solid. The captain's voice was recorded by a traffic controller. The flight path was tracked on highly sophisticated NORAD equipment. There was no mechanical malfunction. 3 highly qualified pilots were on the flight deck. They could see Chicago in the distance. The aircraft descended perfectly normally to 6,000 feet. It was then instructed to level out according to regular procedure. But the aircraft did not level out. It continued to descend for 3 minutes until it flew right into Lake Michigan.
There was no attempt to arrest the descent. It was a clear day just like this. In fact, up until 1 second before the United Airlines Flight 389 hit the water, killing all 30 aboard, the pilot was talking to air traffic control about his altimeter setting. He was looking at his altimeter, he was setting it, he was paying attention to his altimeter. The co-pilot was flying the airplane. He could see the water below him, he could see the city of Chicago in the distance there, about 15 miles away. In light of these facts, the National Transportation Safety Board concluded that no possible explanation can be offered for the action of this crew.
No possible explanation. And yet there is another case involving exactly the same elements. An altimeter charting a path to certain death.
right here is where Detroit Departure Control cleared the Sabreliner that was owned by General Motors to begin its approach into Pontiac. Up about 5 miles is where the Sabreliner began its descent, and beyond that another 2 miles is where the Sabreliner finally crashed into the ground. At no time was there anything wrong with the aircraft itself. It was under full control of the pilot throughout the flight.